Can a single video topple a music empire? Sean Diddy Combs, once the untouchable king of hip-hop, now sits in a Manhattan courtroom, his legacy hanging by a thread. A grainy tape from 2013, labeled Freak Off, has unleashed a storm of allegations, coercion, abuse, even racketeering, that's left his own family walking out in shock. Cassie Ventura, his ex, has broken a decade of silence, and new witnesses are piling on, painting a picture of control that spans years and cities. This trial isn't just about Diddy, it's about power, secrets, and what happens when the music stops. Let's unravel the story that's shaking the world, one chilling detail at a time. The courtroom was a powder keg when prosecutors hit play on the Freak Off 2013 video. Filmed in a Miami penthouse, it wasn't just explicit, it was a window into control. Cassie Ventura, then in her 20s, moved stiffly, her eyes darting between the camera and an unseen voice, allegedly Diddy's, giving orders. "Smile," he reportedly said, as the scene unfolded. Jurors sat frozen, one covered her mouth, another scribbled furiously. The footage, described as orchestrated by prosecutors, showed a production-like setup, lights, costumes, and a chilling sense of routine. Diddy, usually all bravado, slumped in his seat, hands clasped so tight his knuckles paled. His twin daughters, Jessie and Delilah, 17, couldn't take it. Halfway through, they stood, one muttering, "No, I can't," before storming out, faces blank but broken. Aides and security whisked them away as reporters buzzed outside, noting their pale, shaken looks. The video wasn't just evidence, it was a bombshell, proving Cassie's claims of coercion weren't just words. It matched her testimony about planned drug-fueled events that left her trapped. The defense fought hard to block it, arguing it lacked context, but the judge's ruling for transparency let it play. As the screen faded, the room stayed silent, the weight of what everyone saw sinking in. But the video was only the spark. Cassie Ventura's testimony stretched over 4 grueling days, each word peeling back a decade of silence. 8 months pregnant, she walked to the stand with a quiet strength, often touching her belly as she spoke, a subtle reminder of the new life she's protecting while revisiting an old nightmare. She met Diddy in 2007, a 21-year-old singer signed to his Bad Boy label. What started as a dream became a cage. She described freak-offs, events Diddy allegedly called voyeurism, to strengthen their bond. But they were anything but romantic. "He told me what to wear, what pills to take, where to stand," she said. Texts from his Louis Vuitton bag shown in court were chilling. "Which color pill?" she asked. "The green one," he replied. These weren't spontaneous parties, but choreographed nightmares, lights set, cameras rolling, escorts hired. Cassie said she complied out of fear. "I thought I loved him," she told jurors, "but I didn't know how to say no." She described sessions lasting up to 4 days, fueled by drugs, with no sleep, just Diddy's commands. "I looked in the mirror and didn't know who I was," she admitted, her voice steady but heavy. When asked if she ever enjoyed it, she paused. "I wanted to be with him," she said, "but not like that, not the fear." Jurors leaned in, some nodding, as her story revealed a psychological maze, love tangled with control. Her pregnancy added weight to her words, a symbol of moving forward while confronting pain, and the next witness would turn the heat up higher. Dawn. Richard, a former Danity Kane singer, brought a new layer of horror to the trial. She took the stand to recount a night in 2009 at Diddy's LA mansion. Cassie was in the kitchen, cooking eggs when Diddy stormed in, screaming, "Where's my DMN breakfast?" Richard said Cassie froze, and Diddy grabbed a skillet, swinging it at her head. Cassie ducked, but he didn't stop. He allegedly punched and kicked her as she curled up on the floor. The next day, he called it passion, telling Richard and Cassie it was just how relationships work. Richard's voice shook as she described Cassie's fear, her own shock. She also recalled other incidents, Diddy throwing objects, slamming doors, and once locking Cassie in a studio for hours. The defense called Richard's story inconsistent, noting Cassie never mentioned the skillet incident, but Richard stood firm. "I know what I saw." Her testimony painted Diddy not just as controlling, but volatile, a man whose temper could erupt without warning. It echoed Cassie's claims of a pattern, adding a vivid, violent snapshot to the case. And then came a name that silenced the room. Kim Porter's shadow looms large over this trial. Diddy's longtime ex and mother of his children died in 2018, officially from pneumonia. But whispers of foul play have never stopped. Cassie testified that Diddy overlapped their relationships, keeping both women in the dark. When Kim confronted him, she ended up hospitalized a week later. "He told me to stay quiet," Cassie said, her voice low. She feared ending up like Kim, a fear she texted to a friend. "If I disappear like Kim, it wasn't random." Prosecutors didn't allege murder, but let the implication hang, noting Cassie's texts about knowing too much. On X, fans, and even Kim's ex, Al B., sure, have called for a reinvestigation, though no evidence proves foul play. The defense objected, calling it irrelevant speculation, but the judge allowed it, citing Cassie's state of mind. The jury sat still, some glancing at Diddy's family, his mother Janice clutching a rosary, his sons staring ahead. Kim's death, unproven but haunting, added a dark undercurrent to the trial, raising questions no one could fully answer. But Cassie's story wasn't just about her. It was about a system. Cassie didn't just expose Diddy, she revealed a machine. She named names: David James, Christina Courtroom, assistants, travel agents, security firms, who allegedly made freak-offs happen. Private jets carried escorts disguised as stylists or dancers. Burner phones ensured silence. Cassie said Diddy tracked her phone, her location, even her friends. Once, a friend she invited over never arrived. Diddy had warned them off. These events spanned Miami, LA, New York, Ibiza, lasting 36 to 72 hours, sometimes 4 days. "No sleep, just pills and his voice," she said. Prosecutors called it racketeering, a business of coercion, not a lifestyle. They showed travel documents, fake bookings, even NDAs signed by escorts. Cassie described Diddy's surveillance as relentless, security at her door if she didn't text back fast enough. "I feared for my safety every day," she said, "and for others too." The courtroom felt the weight of a network, not just one man's actions. Each name she dropped, assistants, drivers, even a hairstylist, hinted at more witnesses waiting. And those voices were starting to speak. The prosecution wasn't done. Israel Flores, a 2016 hotel security guard, saw Cassie with a bruised eye at the Intercontinental in LA. "Diddy offered me cash to forget it," he said, but he logged it instead. Daniel Phillip, a male escort, described freak-offs in 2012 and 2013. "He told me what to do, and he watched," Phillip said, claiming Diddy's team threatened his career when he tried to back out. Carrie Morgan, Cassie's friend, recalled a 2013 Jamaica trip where Diddy dragged Cassie by her hair for taking too long in the bathroom. Gina Huynh, another ex, testified about similar control, NDAs, threats to her modeling gigs, and constant monitoring. An unnamed assistant spoke of delivering locked briefcases across state lines, believing they held cash or drugs. "Don't ask, don't open," she was told. Each story built a pattern: abuse, payoffs, silence. The courtroom grew heavier, jurors scribbling, some glancing at Diddy, who sat pale, legs shaking. But his team was ready to push back. Diddy's defense leaned hard into consent. They argued the freak-offs were a swinger's lifestyle, not a crime. Explicit texts from Cassie, like ready for the next freak-off in 2012, were shown to suggest she was eager. "You never said no," they pressed. Cassie's response was sharp. Saying no had a cost. The defense admitted Diddy's flaws, drug use, cheating, but insisted it wasn't trafficking. They painted a messy relationship, not a conspiracy, citing Cassie's jealousy over Diddy's other partners like Kim and Gina. On X, fans are split. Some call it a kinky lifestyle, others demand justice, sharing hashtags like #DiddyReckoning. The defense also questioned witness credibility, noting Richard's delayed report and Phillip's vague details. But prosecutors countered, "What choice do you have when fear runs the show?" Jurors seemed torn, some eyeing Diddy, who scribbled notes, sweat beading on his forehead. The public divide mirrored the courtroom's tension, but the next moment would hit closer to home. Diddy's family was a silent pillar until the video broke them. His twin daughters, Jessie and Delilah, left during the freak-off 2013 footage, their faces described as shattered. Janice, his mother, sat clutching a rosary, eyes shut. His sons, King and Justin, avoided his gaze, arms folded. The video's impact wasn't just legal, it cracked family ties. Reporters noted the twins' refusal to return, sparking speculation about what they knew. Prosecutors hinted at a bombshell witness, Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard. Deal's YouTube interviews have long teased stories of NDAs, burner phones, and silent staff. If he testifies, his words could be explosive, tying Diddy's personal control to his empire's operations. The defense objected, calling Deal unreliable, but the judge's sidebar suggested he'll take the stand. As Diddy's daughters walked past him, eyes averted, the room felt a legacy fracturing. And it raised a bigger question. Diddy's story isn't just a trial, it's the fall of a titan. He built Bad Boy Records in the 90s, launching Biggie, Mace, and a hip-hop revolution. His parties defined decadence, his style shaped culture. But shadows followed. Shine's 1999 shooting conviction, tied to Diddy's club brawl, left fans questioning his influence. Now, the trial redefines him. Was he a visionary or a puppeteer? The freak-off video and Cassie's words paint a man who didn't just make music but controlled lives. On X, some call him a scapegoat, others a monster. The truth lies in the gray: love, fear, power, all tangled. This trial forces us to rethink his hits, his charm, his empire. If convicted, Diddy faces decades in prison, his legacy reduced to headlines. If acquitted, can he rebuild? The jury holds his fate, but the world's watching his fall. And there's a bigger story here. This trial isn't just Diddy's, it's a mirror for power in the spotlight. From R. Kelly to Epstein, we've seen icons fall when secrets spill. The freak-off video, Cassie's courage, and a growing list of witnesses show how silence is bought until it isn't. On X, posts speculate about Diddy's ties to elites, even a death threat to a journalist, though nothing's confirmed. The trial's cultural weight is huge. Fans debate if hip-hop's golden era hid darker truths. Cassie's story, echoed by Gina and others, reminds us of the cost of fame for those in its orbit. The jury's decision will ripple beyond Diddy, asking, who pays when power goes unchecked? As witnesses like John Deal loom, the story's far from over, and it leaves us wondering, what happens when the beat stops and the truth plays? This trial has ripped the curtain off Diddy's world, freak-offs, control, and a family left reeling. Cassie's testimony, backed by videos and voices, paints a chilling picture. Kim Porter's death lingers, a question mark no one can erase. Witnesses keep coming, from security guards to escorts, each adding to a case that's more than scandal. It's a system exposed. Diddy's defense fights for his name, but the jury's eyes tell another story. On X, the world's divided, but one thing's clear. This is bigger than one man. Will Gene Deal's words seal Diddy's fate? Can his legacy survive? Drop your thoughts below. What do you think this trial means for Diddy, for hip-hop, for truth? Stay tuned, because this story's far from over.